We've been having an awesome class um, working with imagination. Just amazing. A little esoteric and difficult to understand, especially with the exercises. But the whole purpose of that is to stretch people's muscles, the spiritual muscles. And I love doing that with people. And so that they can get an idea of how to, work with their imagination and to actually get an expanse on it and to be able to function with it. And working with imagination also works with, going into manifestation and intuition comes along with the imagination. So we're getting into that. Oh my God. All right. I'm so sorry about Andrew. Needs a little motivation somehow or another. Something to stimulate his life, get him back to it. All right. Anyone have any questions, please? Please. And we'll be working with healing. I'll be gabbing. And we have a whole hour. So this will be fun. Is there anyone here that has not only questions, but anyone here would like me to work with someone? I'd love the questions if you can get them out there. So we can really begin to boogie here. All right. Good. Let me see here. All right. Good. And any suggestions? I won't work with the emotional. That's emotional stuff. And I won't work with it here. I can work with the emotional and the physical in an appointment, but I won't work with the emotional here because I don't want to just spew it out in front of people. It's no one else's business in one-on-one, and I'd like to do that. Asperger's. Asperger's is good. Nothing wrong with Asperger's. Nothing wrong with it. It's almost like an adaptation to an evolution that's happening, in the process of happening. And there's a very high intelligence in various aspects of life with Asperger's. It's a very high functioning. Some people want to call it disease, but it's not. It's totally not. It's just it's a newer, I should say, form of breaking into an aspect of evolution, in my understanding. So I'd rather not work with them unless there's something physically. I won't work with the emotional, as I mentioned. What went through your mind, and how did you feel the very first time you were able to make someone feel better? That's from Lynn. That's a great question, Lynn. The very first time, initially in the order, I was kneeling for this Mary shrine, and I had the vision of meeting Raphael. But Raphael, the way that I perceived it, was a vast consciousness that went on forever in some realm. And it was like an awakening to me. And then I guess it was one day I had a headache. This is all while I was a novice. And that vision that I had with Raphael happened, I guess it was the first day that I was in the order. I was directed by my teacher to kneel before a shrine, Mary shrine, which I had no idea what that was. And then I guess it was a couple days later or a week later, I had a headache, and I sat down in the chair. My teacher asked me what was wrong with me. I told him I had a headache. And he said, come up to my office. So I went to his office. Hey, Juliet, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Oh, my gosh. And I went into his office. I sat down in the chair, and he put his hands on my head. and my headache went away, and I knew that it wasn't there anymore, and I didn't understand it, why it happened. And so then it almost like it rang a bell in me, and I thought somewhere inside myself, I can do this, and or it's a part of me. And I guess it was 3 months later, I was sent to Fort Worth to the brother house there, and one of the brothers had a sore knee or something, and I said, "Can I try something?" He says, "Yeah, sure." So I put my hands on his knee, and it went away. So that was my first experience. After that, I just started, working with it at where I worked, uh, at a restaurant, and it just kept getting. It was just powerful, very, very powerful, and that was it. So that was my very first experience of it, and I just thought it was a wondrous act. I thought this was in a sense, at first, for the first few months of actually working with it, uh, after I got to Fort Worth, I guess for 3 months, I would actually uh, take on people's pains and diseases and aches, and not knowing uh, anything about it. And I would go home every day, and my teacher would look at me after coming home from work, and he'd say, "What the hell happened to you, Brother Mark?" And I tell him this great story of a great healing that happened. Kids and adults with lung infections, black eyes. They had headaches. They had uh, aches and pains throughout their bodies in different ways. And I'd come home with those things every single day. And every single day, he would say, "What the hell happened to you, Brother Mark?" And I tell him this great story. And he'd have me uh, get this glass of grapefruit juice, and instead of having dinner, he said, "Go to bed." And so I'd have the grapefruit juice, and the next morning I felt better, and I wouldn't have the sickness or the injury in my body. And so every single day I went to work like that. And then one day I said, "I just can't do this anymore. I feel sickly inside myself." And um, so on the way to work, I said, "Hey, look, God, if this is yours, you can have it. I don't want anything more to do with this stuff of healing." And it was that day that I got to work, and I swore I was never going to do this again. And so I got to work, and then all these people there say, "Hey, Mark's here," and everyone's cheering away. "We got someone for you." And there were about 20 people there, and they all came up with this one elderly lady they were actually holding up, and her face was in agony. And I looked at her, I said, "What's wrong with you?" And she said, "I got this migraine, and I've had it for days, and it won't go away, and I just want to die." I felt so bad for her. I put my hand, this is the shortened version of the story, I put my hands on her head without even thinking. And then I started working with the healing, and I realized, okay, if this is you, God, you get this migraine. And so I started chanting inside myself, "God, get this migraine, God, get this migraine." And I watched an imaginatory or imagination thing in my head of God getting this massive migraine, God's head pounding. And then I felt my indicators that it was like a swoosh, and there was like a clarity that happened. And then I took my hands away, knowing that whatever was done, and realizing I'm going to get this migraine. I can't handle this, but I didn't have it. So God got the migraine. But I also realized all this time in working with healing for those past 3 months that I always thought that it was me doing it. And I realized and I found out that it wasn't me. It was really the godliness, the divinity, the source that was doing it. And it wasn't me. It didn't have anything to do with me. So ever since then, I've, I say, okay, boss, you take over. And I let God have the responsibility. I let God or the angelics or whoever, work with the person. And it happens through me. And that's what I enjoy. And this way I don't have to worry about stuff. I've even been, several have heard the story before, that I've even been in these, given these healing circles, and in front of everyone in the world, say someone has a disease or a situation, I'll actually take my hands and put it up to them, and I'll pull it out of them, and they can feel it coming out of them at times, not all the time, but at times. They can feel it coming out of them, the whole disease or the whole injury or the whole situation in their body, chronic, whatever, and I'll put it inside of me. That's how much I trust. And people will go, ooh and ah, won't you get sick? I said, no, it's not me doing it. And I just allow the godliness, the divinity to do it all. And I let them know, though, that there's really nothing to be afraid of. People are afraid because they hear these things from other people. Other people think that they're doing it, so they get sick, they get injured, or whatever. And it's not really the case in the reality of it all. We're the ones who get to determine what the reality is. Because we have free will, we're created in the image of that divinity, that godliness. We're the ones that have free will to choose what's going to happen in that divinity. We're created in the image, and therefore we have the ability to recreate in that image. And therefore, if that's true, if we're created in the image of that divinity, that godliness, as it says, and as we're taught, then the truth of it is we have the ability to recreate in that image. And that's what I believe, and that's what I practice in my life. And therefore we are co-creators. Not the creator, we are co-creators. And that's my take on it. And also that's how I initially first started working with this. And every single day I would go to work, and I'd meet people that were not well, or people that had injured themselves and in some way or another, and I'd work with them. And initially, for the first 3 months, it was me that was doing it, and with this power that was, and force and energy that was given to me. And so, but I learned it wasn't me. And then it's real funny. After I had that experience with the elderly lady who had the migraine, I went home, and my teacher looked at me and he says, "Good for you, Brother Mark. Good for you." And like he knew that I had learned, that it wasn't me in the first place. And I told him what had happened. But no one in the order was allowed to have any gift publicly, and it was all to stay within, and people weren't even allowed to tell anyone else what their gifts were or anything. And so I don't know. For a couple people I knew. In any case, that's how I started. That's how I started. But my teacher let me come home and tell him every single day, what miracles that happened, which was kind of cool, and he just kept it with me. So, Su Xian wrote, "I feel like I am a healer, but I can't accept it because I tend to be wanting to be scientific." Oh, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with the analyzing mind. There's nothing wrong with the intuitive mind or the imaginative mind. There's nothing incorrect about that. But if we're just scientific, then we're cutting ourselves off from another aspect of life. We're just staying with one venue, one genre. But there's more than just one. Otherwise, we're being rigid in our life. So the idea is to help ourselves to be more conscious through utilizing our imagination. And it's through the imagination that we get to exemplify the gifts that are given to us, that we get to perceive of them, to exemplify. That's what they're for. They're tools. That's all they are. They're tools, nothing more. So nothing's really stopping us, or nothing's really stopping you, Su Xian, except for yourself. Nothing else. Nothing. And that's with all of us, though, for everything and for anything in this world. We're the ones who stop ourselves. And yes, and glad you liked it, Juliet. Glad you liked it. Su Xian, I feel like yes, you are. And when Steve meditates, this is for Christina, when Steve meditates, he's able to consciously fly, but he tries to control it, or he does, or he goes too long, his head starts hurting. He's wondering why this happens, because there's several reasons. One is that there's the body's not adapted unless you're living a life that's more conducive for the acceptance of something like that. There's a lot of people in the world with a lot of gifts, all different kinds, and they're afraid of them, or they curtail them because they're not conducive emotionally, mentally for that gift. They're not in the practice of it and living that life. It's more of a novelty when something like that happens, unfortunately. And it's not really a novelty. It's not wrong to call it a novelty, but at the same time, there's an availability to delve more into that if he chooses. And then he can utilize that tool. And it's a gift. It's a tool, though. It has a function and a purpose in this world if we can look for and find the application of it and delve into it, the understanding of it. That's why it's happening, basically. Good point, though. Good point. Yes, we are co-creators, Su Xian. Yes, very true. Very, very true. Su Xian, do we all have this energy inside us? Yes, definitely. There's no person, we wouldn't be alive if we didn't have that spark of life within us. And some people, it's a little bit dimmer, the more analytical they are. Not saying it's dimmer in you, but when a person's not open, they're cut and dry. And they don't want to see something else. Some people that are analytical, they just don't want to see anything else. And so the energy is not going to be conducive for them at all. And they're not going to be able to be open to the meditations and to the prayers. But our evolution is taking us to a place where we're being forced, in a sense, to participate in these things, to see these things at times, or to have the thoughts of these things. And when we're having the thoughts, that's our imagination that's being given to us through other beings, other sources as well, to help us to open. It comes through the imagination, to image in action. It comes to us, especially at times of being real distraught in life. We all have it. We all have that life force within us. That's literally our life. If we didn't have it, we'd be dead. We'd be lifeless. And so that's our life, really, that light within. And that's the energy. And the energy can manifest in all different ways, purposefully, if we learn to work with it and we learn to accept it within ourselves and trust it. That's all healing is knowing and accepting. Healing is nothing else. That's what it's about. Lynn, I'm curious how it came to be that the order chose you. So am I. So am I. First, to answer Su Xian, Second question, uh, do we all have this energy side of us that it does not have to be given to us? Um, it's an awakening within us, but the energy is in everyone, and nothing's. Um, it, it's given. It is in some sense given when we're ready for it within ourselves, and it's when we want to accept it. That's what makes it so much easier in our life. Then we have to, after we accept it, then we have to learn how to work with it. We all have it. All of us have it. I think I've only met one person in my life out of maybe 20 or 30,000 people uh, that I've worked with or had appointments with or taught. One person that wasn't capable of doing this, and I don't know why. And so one out of every 20 or 30,000 people, that was just, the people that I've met in my life pertaining to healing. So Lynn's question, I'm curious how it came to be that the order chose you. The order initially would, there was the main person, his name was Paul. And when the order first began as an established order, it was going years before, but when it first became established, Paul would go into bars and really grungy places, and he would go into I forgot what it's called, just the worst places, in the worst streets, and bars and stuff, and find the people who were the most downtrodden. And at the time, I was back from Vietnam, and I was most downtrodden, and that's how I met the order. And so he would look at these people, drunks, other people, who were having difficult times in life, and he'd look at them and he would say, "Follow me." And they would drop everything right there. They would drop their lives and they would follow him. And he'd bring them back to the order. And that was the main body of the order at the time. And that's what made up the order. And, it was people who had lost everything, who didn't have anything in life. Self-esteem, belongings, anything. Just the worst of the worst, and bums, you name it. And so those were the people that he gathered and put together and taught. And I was one of those too at one time. And then I had to go through, after the order got more and more established over the years, I had to go through, in front of an esoteric council, and it was in California, and I was standing there, and he just looked at me and he said, "What are you doing here?" In front of everyone, a sea of teachers and priests, and maybe about 30 or 40 of them in this huge room. And I looked at him, and I didn't know why I was there. And I kept going deeper and deeper inside myself, saying, "I don't know, I don't know." And every time I said, "I don't know," I found myself in like a little cell that was maybe 4 or 5 feet by 8 or 9 feet or something like that. And it was empty. And I kept looking for something to identify with in these cells inside of myself. And I kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. And every single time I said, "I don't know." And then he said, "We believe you." And he introduced me to my teacher. My teacher told me to go into that chapel where I had that experience for several hours. So why I was chosen, I don't know. It's probably because I was so empty in my life at the time. And that's the something special they saw in me. And I think that's what really mattered. If it was something for some other reasons, I don't know. And I don't know about anything special, really, except for being empty. And when you're empty, you're open. It's no different than when we lose something in life. something that means so much to us, there's this huge void there in our lives. And then, that's when we get our prayers answered. That's when we get, in some sense, saved. And that's when something great begins to happen. And it's a process. It can happen in the process. It can happen either immediately, or it can happen over time. It develops and it grows. And that's the way it's been in my life. So, and I think it's, that way with everyone. We all have these moments where we, at some time or another in our life, where we've, in some sense, we've lost everything, whether it be a partner or whether it be our belongings or something. And that's when we're empty and we have nothing, or we're so in debt. I've been through that too, that, we have nothing. And we feel that we're going to be on the streets or we're going to be dead. That's when we're empty. And when we can, in some sense, replicate that inside of ourselves, recognizing that we don't have anything inside of ourselves, that's when that void can be filled or begin to be filled. But it takes desire. And other than that, I'm nothing special. And okay, you're going to, Susian's going to start calling herself a healer. Great. Wonderful. All I do now is practice and develop it as a tool. Nothing to it. And when you're ready to learn, let me know. I'll help you with that as much as I can, Susian. Juliet, my internet is breaking up and disconnecting me. I will listen to the replay. Wonderful, wonderful. Mark, can you please advise what to do when I feel others' emotions and their physical pain, please? I love the question. When we're feeling other people's emotions, I think the main thing is to recognize it's not us who's having the emotions, they are. And they're the ones who are expressing to you. And they don't even, they just know they have to. And they have to find someone to express to. But our place is to be objective and be observant. Otherwise, we're wanting to be the old type of empathetic. And the empathetic, it doesn't warrant getting sick from someone else. It's not valid anymore. That's the old way. That doesn't apply anymore. We've evolved since that. And so, to have empathy for someone is to witness. And so when we're witnessing someone, we're being truly objective. That's when it's going to help them the most. They're expressing what they've been through in their life. And that's what the emotional dilemma is. And it's not in us. They're expressing it. It's never been us. But we don't know that, so we want to empathize with someone through what we call empathetic healing. And it's not going to do anyone any good. And you're going to have two people that are sick. So what's the use of that? And they're going to still go off and not have any resolution. And we're going to remember what the deep emotions of discomfort are inside of us. It's not doing anyone any good. So my suggestion is to be objective and observant and to listen. And listening more than answering in what they're expressing. The true healer, I believe, is the person that can listen objectively and observantly and not take anything on, but understand what they're talking about. And we're understanding through our own identifications. If we didn't have the identifications within us, then we wouldn't be able to comprehend what they were talking about. If we didn't have something similar in some way in our current situation of life, or our past situation of life, or our potential future, we wouldn't be able to comprehend it. We wouldn't be able to identify with it. So it's about us too. So as someone else that we're listening to starts to express themselves in a deep emotional or sincere emotional situation in expressing to us, we can take a look of ourselves and how do I fit into that? What are they sharing with me? What are they teaching me? How is this person a helpful person to me in my life? That's what we're looking for. And then as we're witnessing our thoughts, I hope this makes sense and doesn't get too deep, but as we're witnessing our thoughts and what we're remembering of what they're expressing, or how we can identify what they're expressing, we're being objective, and it's breaking the pattern in us, and it will help to break the pattern in the other person. That's what I use in my life in working with the deep emotion. And then, as you practice that as a tool and learn how to use that as a tool, that's when we're able to begin to see things with other people at times. Not all the time, at times we'll be able to see things, and that's what you call the intuitive, the inner teaching. It'll share with us more of the story. I hope that all makes sense to people. I know it's heavy, but if you want to replay this, that'd be great. And also, if you can give, a hashtag you rock, that would be awesome too. Google Analytics will love this as well. And also, I don't know if AOL does this or not, but in any case. So let's see here. Juliet, that's my answer. That's my total answer. All right. Also, she asked, Mark, can you please advise what to do when I feel others' emotions and their physical pain? Don't go to the empathetic healing. I'm telling you, be objective. Another thing to do when someone has pain, very simply, is if you're allowed, put your hands on them. Say if it's a leg or a knee. If someone has a knee problem, put your hands on their knee and imagine, instead of you doing it, that's our first thought, is that, oh, I'm going to do it, or I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to try this. And we think that we're doing it in some sense, but it's not us. It's really the divinity. It's the divinity that's doing it. Just like we have a physical body, but inside of us, the first body is the spiritual body that creates the form around it, and that adapts to our environment, our growing up, the love we receive or the hate we receive. The whole body conforms with that around us. The things we hear, the things we witness, the things we sing, things we read, everything, all the experiences show through the body. So what you're doing is putting your hands, say hypothetically, on someone's knee, if they have a knee problem, and you're watching that spiritual body come out of you. And Juliet, just watch that spiritual body come out of you, the spiritual hands, and go into them, and keep your focus on that. And you'll see that they'll most likely even feel it. Not that they have to, because it doesn't matter whether a person feels the situation or not of what's happening. Something's still happening regardless. And so you're watching the light hands, the hands of God, come out of you. That's what really matters. That's what really matters. One time, for some reason, this story popped in my head. I was in the Boston Order House in Brookline, Mass. And I was downstairs in the kitchen. I was assigned to cooking or making a salad, and there were a bunch of other people that were cooking and stuff like that for about 30 or 40 people in the house. And uh, uh, the priest there said, I want you to make the salad, Brother Mark. I said, okay. So I went to the refrigerator, got all the vegetables out, and I was going to make this huge salad. Then I realized there's only a half a head of lettuce and a couple tomatoes and some celery, but it wasn't enough for 40 people to take salad. And I showed it to the guy, and he says, make it anyway. And so I did, and the whole time I was so scared, I was so worried that people weren't going to be eating. I'd say, "Oh God, God, help, please!" This is, and no one say anything or whatever. And so I made the salad, and everyone else was preparing the other foods, and then the other 4 or 5 people that were working in the kitchen area. So I brought the salad out in this one bowl with the celery and the tomatoes and the lettuce, the half a head of lettuce, all chopped up, whatever. And I put it in the bowl, and there were about 40 people in the dining room there. And they said the blessing over the food, and I'm praying my tail off over the food. Oh God, please, and make it just enough, please. And so they're handing it around, and I'm watching everyone take salad, and everyone took the salad. I didn't see anyone who didn't, and yet there was still salad left in the bowl. It was a fantastic miracle that it happened. So the point of my story was we have the ability to let the hands of God do it. And as long as we're doing that, it's going to take over for us. All we have to do is trust it. Nothing more. That's it. That's it. Just trusting it. All right. So, because if we do it, we're going to get in trouble, or we're going to take on someone else's extra pains. What has that done? Or it won't work on them, and or it'll last a short period of time for them if we're doing it. So the idea is not us doing it, but allowing the source to do it. And the source I call God. Call it whatever you want. Call it nameless one, call it divinity, call it source, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. As long as we're relying on it, that's what really matters. So, good question there. Good question, Julian. And Patty wrote, yesterday and today, my daughter, Trisha, experienced extreme migraines. Can you please work with her? I'd be more than happy to. More than happy. And let me put a like by that. Matter of fact, let me click off a couple of these things here, and acknowledging that people actually answered my questions and stuff and said hello. And I'm getting there. 1 second here. And this way it'll also let me know that I answered some of the comments and questions here. And all right. Here we go. I answered that. Okay, almost done here. Almost done. Thank God. And all right, here we go. So yesterday, my daughter Trish experienced extreme migraines. Can you please work with her? I'd be more than happy. I just got to witness like a release of pressure, whether it be from the medications or from what we're doing here. It was what I witnessed. And as far as working with her, I had my hands on top of her head, and I watched a pressure release. So let's see what happens. I'm going to do a little bit more. See, all healing is knowing and accepting. There's no difference uh, than anything else. It's just knowing and accepting. There's no other things in interplay there. Okay. Now, one other thing, Su Xian, one thing that came to me also while I was working with Patty, her daughter Trish, one thing that came to me, Su Xian, was that your son is really intelligent and there'll be a breakthrough. I don't know your son, but uh, there'll be a big breakthrough in his life, not when you want it, when God wants it. And it might be sooner than later. So not to worry, not to fret, and not to be so demanding necessarily, but also be stringent as well. That will help to give him direction later through the stringency now. That's all I have to say about that. So I don't know anymore. So just wanted to share that with you. And Lynn wrote, "Thank you for your explanation, and I disagree with the not special comment." Oh, oh, I see what you're saying. That special is what makes us unique. Yes, we all are, and it's our path. Whatever our path is what special makes us. I try to at times replicate humility. That's why I say not special, and it's just an ingrained thing in me. Good point, though. Good point, Lynn. It was obvious an event that was meant to happen for you. Yes, it was my calling, and it's happened many a time in many a different times and places. And so, but there's other times, like I know of one time for sure. It's fact that I was a tyrant, and there was another time that I was a Vietnamese rice farmer alone in my life. And I know that there was, and I knew that, I know that for a fact. It is traceable. And there was another time that I was in the resistance in France. I wasn't in the French army, but I was in the resistance in 1916 through 18 for 2 years. And I know how I died. I knew my name. I knew my wife's name. I knew our child. And it was, and that last part for sure was researched, and everything was true. And so you certainly made a huge difference in many lives because of it. I do whatever I can, but it's through my identifications that I'm able to, do more, and that's what matters. That's what matters. Hey, Prash, good to see you, my dear friend. Good to see you. So, yeah, thanks for the comments. Those are true, and very true. And I hope all that makes sense. Oh, you didn't join late. Don't worry about it. There is no late in the gathering. Yes, please do watch the replay. And let's see, Sushian, can you work on my right Achilles tendon more? Yeah, sure. I'd be more than happy. also what I perceived was that it needs more stretching. It needs a like a regimen of stretching, and it's going to be uncomfortable when you first do it too, each time. But as you see, that it'll get less uncomfortable and less uncomfortable as you develop that. And it's important to have a regimen of stretching, a formal regimen of some kind. So that's my perception of what I got, and I did work with it just now. And Sushian, okay, thanks, of course. I am curious by what you mean by breakthrough. I told you that that's all that I know. I don't know how to answer that any more than what was shown to me right then. There'll be a breakthrough. That's all I know. I'm sorry. And I don't know what else. All right. Anyone else have any other kind of questions or comments or anything? Oh my God, it's only 10 minutes left. We're going quickly here. Very, very quick. A lot of good comments though and questions. I love it. Please, is there anyone else who would like me to work with them? Or have any questions I can try to answer? I'd be more than happy to. Or you want me, is there anything you would like to ask me that I can expand upon? I'd be more than happy to. Let's see. I will tell Trisha. Okay, good. Please do, Patty. I appreciate that. And see what, if she had a reaction yet. I saw what happened in spiritual. Thanks, Sushian. I saw what happened in spiritual. Now it's affecting the body. And so let me know, please. I appreciate that. So all healing is just knowing and accepting. And as we learn to do that more and more and more, as we progress in that, something more develops within us. And we become more of the into the so-called spiritual realms, whatever they mean to you or in the reality. We find ourselves diving more into them. And then we find ourselves blending with this life, this earth life, and heaven life, what we call heaven. And then we just, everything as it blends together, that's what creates the true spirituality. We're here for a purpose. We live here. We're functioning here. And it's bringing both worlds together. That's the whole purpose of it. That's the whole function of it. Thanks for putting these things up. We do have appointments. Also, we have a workshop coming up. We don't even, I didn't give Lynn the name of it yet, but it's going to be announced either tomorrow or the next day or whatever, either tomorrow or Friday, about intuition and your empowerment of it and how to develop your empowerment of it. It'll be a real dynamic, esoteric workshop for anyone. And that'll be announced. It'll be a 4-day workshop, an hour and a half a day. I just, we're finishing up now on the one with imagination, which is intense, but it's great. And we're stretching the muscles, the spiritual muscles for development and the mental muscles on that. And it'll help everyone. It even helps me, as far as working with it. Thanks for putting these things up. Also, Lynn put up the supporting and gifting from the heart. Please do. It helps not only us to continue with all these events that we're doing, but it also helps other people. When there's excess, I get to give it to other people, and through food or through clothing or whatever. And it also helps people to have appointments with me if they don't have any money. And if anyone here is really broke, that watches this, I'll give you a pretty good discount on an appointment if anyone wants one with me for healing, whether it be the body or mind. And I'll do everything I can and whatever comes through is best for you, in my perception. And most people tell me that something in their life has changed, and that's all that matters. That's the only thing I go for. I don't go for the great effect anymore. I just want the change to happen in the person. So, and all the information is up that Lynn's putting up. Thank you so much. So, and please don't forget to do the gifting or the donate there. It's not really donate. I don't have a 501c3, but it's a gifting and support. So, yeah, and Patty, please do let me know about Trish. I really appreciate that, what's happened. And November, what is it? Let me see here. November 10th at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time is the free healing circle. It's online, and it'll be through Zoom. And so sign up for that. Don't forget to sign up for that. And save the date for the next workshop, November 30th it starts. It'll be for 4 days. November 30th, and how many days in November? What is it? 30, 31? I can't remember all of a sudden. How mind-boggling. Oh my God. November has 29 days. No, 30. It has to have 30. Come on. Yeah, 30. Okay. And that's when we're going to get into the workshop and working with the intuitive and your power with it. And how easily you'll be able to get into it. So it'll be for 4 days, an hour and a half a day. It's a dynamic workshop. It's going to be. And so I want to say my adieus to everyone. It's just about time. One thing I would like you to do is close your eyes, please, and just for a moment. This is the shortest meditation you'll ever have in your life, but you got to do it my way, or else it's not going to count. So close your eyes and just imagine. No one's going to hear you. No one's going to see you. And just imagine asking yourself inside, say, is there a possibility of something living inside of me, this consciousness? And then wonder about it and ask it, how do I serve you? Ask that living consciousness that might be there, how do I serve you? And let the ideas come to you. Let an understanding come to you. Don't think an understanding. Let it come to you. How do I serve you? You might hear it, the answer. How do I serve you? Let the answer come to you. Or you might see it. Let it come to you. No thinking. Every time you think, ask it again. How do I serve you? That living source within you. Okay. Now, everyone, please, if you weren't able to do it here, that little meditation, mini meditation. That's a mini. It's not just a mini, it's a mini. So if you weren't able to do it here, practice that. Try that when you're going to sleep at night, or really desire an answer, though. Really desire an answer. Really desire wanting to know, how do I serve you? Doesn't mean you have to change your life or change your friends or go off to Stona and live in the mountains or in a burnt out car. It's just asking that, and see how it's showing you or telling you how you can serve. So, alrighty, my dear friends, blessings to you. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. God bless you, and I'll see you on the 10th at the Healing Circle, and look out for the information that's going to come up on the website about the intuition workshop. It's going to be deep, and it's going to be there'll be exercises. I'll answer your questions. You'll have understandings on how to function with it and how to help it to become more alive within you. I promise you that. I promise it. All right. Blessings to everyone, and thank you so much for being here.